All right, welcome everybody to the Real Estate Mogul Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Caffarella. I'm super excited today to bring on a guest out of Alabama, Brian Trippe. Brian, what's going on, man?
What's going on, man? I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for coming on. So this is going to be one of the episodes of the Cashflow series where we talk about markets where you can still cash flow in. And Brian, we were talking about a couple minutes ago, like I mentioned to you, those markets are becoming fewer and farther between nowadays.
Yeah.
So I heard about Brian. It was a mutual friend that connected me, and I was actually listening to one of his presentations, and he started talking about the numbers that he's getting in the rental market, and I was just like, man, it's kind of crazy because it's almost like I feel like every market is either a cash flow market or a huge flip profit market.
Yeah.
And where I'm at, I mean, if we're not making 60, 70, 80K on a fix and flip, we feel like we failed. But on the buy and hold side, I can get a 30% discount on a property off of fair market value today, and I'll be negative on day one as a rental.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, as I mentioned, you're still in one of those markets where you can cash flow. Tell me about the numbers in your market and kind of what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you having me on. I'll do the best I can for your audience. So I'm in Birmingham, Alabama.
You better do the best you can.
I'm going to do that. I'll give you guys the absolute best.
Cool.
I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham is a cash flow market. Always has been, always will be. You're right. What you said earlier is that even in Birmingham, that's always been a hardcore cash flow market. Even in Birmingham, the numbers are starting to get skewed a little bit because we're seeing record high appreciation. There's record high appreciation going on all across the nation, right?
Yep.
So Birmingham's still the cash flow market. So you asked about the numbers. It really just kind of varies. The way I teach, I've got a lot of coaching students here, and I do a lot of, like you said, presentations and stuff. So the way I kind of teach it is there's cash flow or there's appreciation. And you need to pick. Do you want to invest for cash flow or do you want to invest for something that's a little more volatile like appreciation? Like if you're up in Boston, you get that appreciation. In Birmingham, you're maybe over time going to get 1%, right?
So you're saying you're seeing record prices even when you're at. What does that look like percentage year over year?
Yes, sir. So that's what I was about to say is that Birmingham is about 1% appreciation on average over the course of history.
So crazy.
But right now, over the past 2 or 3 years, we're seeing 8, 9, 10% appreciation in some areas, not the entire greater Birmingham area, but in some parts of Birmingham, which for us is nuts. That's the volatile stuff. It's like we feel like we're LA, we're San Francisco right now, we're Boston, we're seeing crazy appreciation numbers. But you asked about the cash flow numbers, and so it really depends. If you're going to go into an A type of area, get an A class property, you're still going to be able to cash flow it a little bit. And you can't, I don't know that you can do that in a lot of markets. Get an A-class property and still cash flow. You're typically going to buy an A-class property for appreciation. You buy it and you hold it. You take the negative cash flow in the short term to get the long-term benefits of the appreciation. Mm-hmm. You're going to get a little, when I say a little, you're 1%, 2%, 3% cash flow, right? Uh-huh. But you get a solid B-class property in a working class area. It's not Section 8 type of area. It's a really good, solid area. You're going to see 8 to 10, maybe even if you get a good deal, like you said, if you get a 70 cents on the dollar deal, you're going to get 12, 13, 14% return on your money on the cash flow on a B-class property. And that's the sweet spot. And that's why you see investors come from all over the country, and they're putting money right here in Birmingham. You see Chinese money coming into Birmingham. You see money all throughout the world investing right here because, like you said earlier, you can't get cash flow in a lot of markets right now. Birmingham is one of those spots.
It's kind of crazy because there's Chinese money coming into Boston, and it doesn't make any sense to me because, they're dumping in a ton of money into these high-end areas. And I know what you said, some people are banking on appreciation.
Right.
But we've got to be close to the end of this cycle in terms of prices.
Right.
So they're buying, hoping for appreciation at the end of the cycle and not getting cash flow. it just seems so crazy to me. Like, why would, if you're in another country, you're in China, whatever country you're in, and you've got money, why would you ever go into Boston when you go into Alabama and get guaranteed returns?
Well, I think that's a good point. That's a good question. But at the end of the day, I think that there are people out there who invest for appreciation and they've done very, very well. I equate that to putting money in the stock market, right? You over time in Boston, if I put money in an A or a B class area in Boston, you correct me if I'm wrong, over a 10 to 15, 20-year period of time, I'm going to win, right?
Yeah, but so if you think about what's happened, so basically 2005 in Boston was basically the height of the market. The problem is though, like I feel like this is almost 2005 now, and we've just surpassed the 2005 numbers. So I feel like somebody today, they might have to wait 10 years to get that appreciation. Maybe.
But that's what they're banking on, though.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's there are certain areas even here within Birmingham. There are certain communities that are kind of the higher end areas that over time it's a fact it's going to appreciate 2 to 3% year over year, right? Yeah. There are areas like that, I'm sure, in Boston that over time. So it's the same thing. I don't want to do that because I'm a conservative investor, and like you said, I want the guaranteed cash flow.
Yeah.
Right. And that's my choice. I think if you're an investor, I don't devalue either one. I just think that you need to be educated and you need to understand if you're investing for cash flow in Birmingham, you're not going to see a lot of appreciation. But if you're investing for appreciation, maybe in a place like Boston, in a proven area, which I'm sure there are proven areas that are definitely going to appreciate year over year, and it's more volatile, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna see bigger, steeper declines, but you're also gonna see steeper inclines when it comes to the appreciation number. So I just think I try to educate people in the sense that I don't think either is wrong. Mm-hmm. The cash flow way is more conservative and more, for me, in my taste, I don't like the volatility, right? Yeah. I don't like the uncertainty and the volatility.
Yeah, I just feel like, this is just, my thing is like, I own a bunch of rentals in Boston and I'm selling some of them because I think the prices are so high. I think we're going to see a little bit of a correction, and I'm putting money in other markets that are flatter. So again, it's all kind of what you want to do, but I just always look at rentals like, if you can get cash flow and appreciation, why not go for both?
Well, so but that's the thing. I think that's the the golden nugget there is to get cash flow and a little bit of appreciation.
Yeah.
And that's really rare because you're not there are a couple of spots that you can do that a little bit in Birmingham, but not really. It's really it's a cash flow market. I think right now we're seeing record high appreciation all across America.
Yes.
Right. So you're even getting some of that appreciation here in Birmingham, which is never historically going to appreciate that much. So I don't bank on that. I treat, personally, I'm a cash flow investor, and I treat appreciation as a bonus. I never calculate it into my numbers. I just, even though ROI, if you actually take the actual definition of ROI, it's cash flow plus appreciation. Mm-hmm. Divided by your investment. That's the actual definition of it. I just take the appreciation out of it completely, and I just treat it as a bonus.
So what happened to Birmingham during the last crash? Like, were there decreases in prices? Was it flat, or what did it look like?
Yeah. So, we took a hit like everywhere else in America, right? The thing about Birmingham though, so I equate Birmingham to like a Memphis. We're very similar to Memphis if you had to compare us to anything. So to answer your question, we took a hit, but again, we're not the volatile market where we're just going to go way down and way up and all this stuff. If you look at our graph of the sales and the median sales price and inventory and all this stuff, it does like this. When most markets are, it does a slight down curve. In most markets, like a Denver, a Boston, a San Francisco, it's a Phoenix taking a steep. If you look at those graphs, it is steep how bad it went, how bad it fell off. Now, so Birmingham, just real quick, not that I just want to kind of tie this in a little bit. Birmingham City is is only about 300,000 population, but Greater Birmingham is 1.1 million. Birmingham is made up of many, many little cities. Greater Birmingham is. So I say that to say there are certain little towns and little cities around Birmingham that did take huge hits. And then there are certain ones that didn't really get affected really at all because they're more purely cash flow areas, and the people investing in those areas, it didn't affect them because they're not reselling anything. There are no sales. There are barely any sales. So it's all rents, and the rents weren't really affected.
So talk about, you said your bread and butter is like the B-class neighborhoods.
Yes.
What does that look like in terms of a purchase price and then maybe a renovation and then what they rent out on a month-to-month basis?
Yeah. So I invest, I like the B plus kind of area. So what that looks like for us now, and I typically shock some people that aren't in our market.
You started to shock me when I was watching your presentation. I'm not to the point where this might lead to a conversation of me saying, how can I get into your market?
Yeah. Contact me.
Yeah.
So the you can get into a B class, a solid brick house, 3-bed, 2-bath brick house. You can retail. This is retail value. This is not even buying it at a discount like investors want to buy it. Retail on the low end, 80,000, on the high end, 110, 80 to 110,000. Your rents are going to be somewhere in the 900 to 1,100 range, where you're going to, after expenses, you're going to get a solid 10 on the minimum side, 8 to 10 minimum, but you can really find deals out there where you can get 10, 15, 18% return on your money in some of these areas.
So what the numbers you're talking about, like every time I buy a property in Boston, I'm looking for that 100 times rent for a price. So I'm looking at, if I pay $300,000, I want to collect $3,000 in rent. And I can't even do that when I buy at a 30% discount as of November 2017, when we're talking right now. And what you're saying is, in your market, you can just go on the MLS, buy a property, and get those numbers.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. You can go on the MLS right now.
Oh, actually, sorry to cut you off, buddy. I want to just mention an important point. I'm talking about bad neighborhoods. I'm talking about neighborhoods where if we don't get guaranteed, Section 8 money, we couldn't even buy these. So I'm talking about, you get a 30% discount in some of the worst neighborhoods in the greater Boston area with tenants that are going to be bad. I'm talking, whatever you want to call the class. I mean, what's the worst class? Is it C?
I call it war zone.
Yeah. It's war zone areas. And we still can't get that return. So it's crazy.
Yeah. So you could go on the MLS right now. I mean, I can pull it up for you. I can show it to you, where you could buy a house in a solid B class neighborhood for 40, 50, 60K, maybe put 15, 20 into it to get it really quality, rent ready, to where you're going to attract a quality tenant. You're going to be all in for 80, 90, and you're going to get 900 minimum rent, probably 1,000, maybe 1,100.
So on each one, and you're doing, is it all single families for the most part?
For me, no. I like to keep it a little bit diversified as far as what I do. I've got, so full disclosure here, I think, I always say I've just got my 80th door, but 59 of those is a mobile home park. I own a mobile home park here in the greater Birmingham area. I have an office building where my office is, and it's a strip mall. I've got that's 6 units in there, and then the rest are single family. So I got to kind of do the math for a second. So what is that? 65. So I have 15 single family houses right now.
And how do you compare one versus the other? I guess, what's your goal? Like, after kind of owning a little bit of different types of properties, is your goal to keep accumulating the singles or go after bigger stuff, and why?
Yeah. So I think that's where I'm at. I think that if you're new and you're getting started, I think you need to start with one. You need to start with a single family residence, and it can even be your own that you currently live in. If you want to move out, just keep it. That's how I typically teach people. And that's how I started with one. But that I've kind of gotten to the point to where I do want to branch out. I've got this mobile home park that I've had for 2 years now. and it's been phenomenal. It's been a phenomenal cash flowing property for me.
Yeah.
So I would love to maybe get into some stuff like that. I am looking. My next purchase is probably going to be an apartment building. I'm kind of there. I'm kind of where I feel like you can do some stuff here in Birmingham where you can get probably a C-class apartment building, and there are a lot of areas that are up and coming that are notoriously bad, but they're bringing industry into it, and you can get a property like that's vacant, that's been vacant for a while, but it's all brick. Maybe get an 8, 12, 16 unit, and then fix it up, and you can end up with returns in the 15 to 18, 20% range. So that's where I am today. But that's after I spent the first 3 to 4 years of my investing career trying to understand the single family residence, because I think you need to understand that first.
Yep.
But I've got some mistake properties that I still hold on to, where I was buying in D class, C class areas that I would rather go ahead and liquidate those and put that cash into a B class property. I'd rather have fewer B plus kind of properties, but that cash flow really well and that are very little leveraged.
Yeah.
Than have all these D class, C class area type of properties where on paper it looks like you're getting great returns, but and I know that doesn't always work out, because things, I'm sure this happens in Boston, where you have theft and vandalism, you have bad tenants, you have evictions, you have all these different things that are going to throw your numbers all askew. You think you're getting 30, 40, 50%, and you're really not. After they steal an air conditioner, you're replacing stuff like that. So
that's my whole business model right there. The lower class,
Is it?
It is. And we get pretty much, I don't know if we have any tenants. We've got about 300 doors ourselves. And I have 2 other partners, by the way. And everything is pretty much government paid. So, it is what it is. And that's really, in Boston, the only way you can get that 10 cap. So that's what we do. And, I'm not about appreciation at all. I mean, like you mentioned, I look at appreciation the same way. If I get it, that's awesome. But I look at it like, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. I'm buying this on cash flow. I'm buying it on the fact that this is my retirement plan. And I do a lot of fix and flips, but this is what I'm going to end up retiring on. So, and I think, like you mentioned, kind of the differences in starting with single families. I think there can be some real benefits of owning single families too, because I think it's easier to get a discount on a single family than a big complex, because the person who's selling a single family is just, an average everyday person that might, have some financial problems, or they might just want to sell fast for cash. Whereas like an apartment owner, obviously there can be some issues there, but they're more, seasoned investor.
Yeah.
And it's easier to liquidate the singles too. So
Yes.
when you're talking about liquidating a 20-unit building, there's a handful of people in the market that can take it down. Whereas the single family, any person can buy it, whether that's even an owner occupant or somebody who wants to buy it as a rental.
Yeah. I think right now I think everything he says dead on, but right now what's happening with the multifamily stuff is it's so overpriced everywhere across the board. I've just be doing the research for the past year, especially, in Birmingham for sure, but across the board, it's really overpriced. And to be honest, what I'm doing right now, I've only bought 3 houses this year. In 2017, I've only bought 3 houses. You know what I've done with the rest of my cash? I've got it in stocks. And I know this isn't a stock show, but I've got you're talking about the stock market is set over 60 all-time highs in the past year.
Yeah.
I mean, like right now, I just feel like there are certain things that are going on. Like I feel like we're in a melt up right now with when it comes to stocks, and I'm trying to ride that wave. And I've seen my money is almost doubled in the stock market in the past year. And so I'm just kind of riding this wave. It's not going to last forever. I'm going to get out, and I'm waiting for the next. I think a lot of investors right now that have been doing this for a while, they kind of see the handwriting on the wall. I'm not saying that it's going to happen in 6 months, but I think we're close. And I think a lot of people think that we're close to a decline, a correction, not a crash, but a correction. And that's when I want to go out, and that's when I want to take my liquid cash, because I'm liquid right now, which is great, which is the benefit of I don't want to buy right now at the height of the market.
Hmm.
If there's a great discount that we can get through our marketing, I want to do it, but I want to buy at 2012's prices. I don't
Hmm.
want to buy it at 2017's prices. So if I can't get it at 2012's prices, I'm not going to buy. I'm just not buying right now.
Mm. So you talked a little bit in the presentation about like the BRRRR strategy and stuff like that, where, you buy, renovate, refinance, rent, refinance, and get most of your money back out. So given that you think that, the market might correct and you want to have some cash, if you're using the BRRRR strategy, you're putting money in and you're getting it back out. So what would be the negative today for you of just continuing to do that?
Yeah, I'll tell you the negative. And
Yeah.
this is eye-opening and this is scary for a lot of people who don't understand how commercial loans work. Pretty much every commercial loan out there that it's going to be a commercial loan, right? If you're
Mhm.
if you're doing that, if it's an investment property,
Yep.
pretty much any commercial loan out there has a little clause in it. Every one of them, you can go look, and you probably have some. Go look. They all have this little clause in there that says there's usually a 5-year balloon that you have to go and get it refinanced, and that the banker always says, "Oh, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine." But there's not only that. There's also this little known clause in these mortgages that say, if the lender believes that the property or the investment, the asset is unsafe,
Hmm.
they can take it back. If
Hmm.
they believe it to be unsafe.
Hmm.
Not if you missed a payment, and that is a scary, scary, scary thing when they can literally just come and take my property, even if I've been on time, and they can call the entire no due right then and there.
Yeah.
That's scary, man. That's the biggest reason why. And when you go back, I wasn't investing in 2007, 2008. Okay. I didn't start until 2012. But when you go, I've done a lot of research and I've gone back and I host a podcast too. And I go back and I talk to a lot of investors that have been doing this for a long time and they survived the crash or they got hit by the crash. I always ask them how they survived, what happened, what are you doing now to protect yourself? And a lot of them mention that clause that they had property taken away from them, even though they weren't missing payments.
Mm. That's crazy. That is definitely something I've never heard of.
Go look at some of your commercial mortgages.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guarantee. I believe. What you're saying is correct. It's just something like it's kind of mind-boggling that could even happen. From a bank's perspective, what would be the reason they'd want to take it back if you're not missing payments?
It doesn't matter. I don't know. I can't get inside their head, but it doesn't matter. Just the fact that clause is in there, that they can literally take it back for any reason if they deem it to be unsafe. Like if they believe that you're going to miss a payment, if they believe that it's something, whatever, they can do whatever they want to do. And that's not something that I don't want to put my fate in someone else's hands.
So if someone comes into Brian Trippe's coaching program in Birmingham today, what are you advising them to do in order to make money right now? Like what strategies?
Wholesale. So I'm not a fix and flip guy. When I first started, I started wholesaling. When I first got started, I didn't want to wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of ended up happening. I wanted to be a real estate investor. I wanted to be a property owner. I'd never owned a thing in my life. I want to own property.
Mm-hmm.
When I made $10,000 on my very first deal without a whole lot of effort either, by the way, and it was a wholesale deal, it kind of like changed my thinking a little bit. It's like, wow, it's kind of because I needed cash. I started with no money and bad credit,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed cash. And so when that happened, it opened up my eyes. A, this thing works, and B, hey, you know what? There's something to this wholesale thing. So now I talk to investors that are, and I started a wholesale business and it's been very successful for about 4 years now. And I talk to investors throughout the country and they're just like, man, I'm sick of flipping houses.
Yeah.
When you flip a house, you got done saying, if I don't make 70, 80,000 on a flip, well, that's awesome. If you can make 80K, man, go for it. But that's not what's happening in Birmingham,
No.
and that's not what's happening across America either. The average flip in America is like, I think the net profit's 50,000.
Yep.
But
Sounds about right.
in Birmingham, it's more like 20,000. and my average wholesale is 10 to 12,000, which
Yeah.
is it's low nationwide, but for Birmingham that's kind of good. So if my average wholesale is $10 to $12,000, and the average net profit you're going to make on a flip is 15 to 20,000, and you're going to be in that flip for 4 to 6 months, I'm going to be in this for as little as 7 days. It's a no-brainer to me that wholesale is so the barrier of entry is low. It doesn't. If you have a few cash buyers that are, especially now in this market, that are crushing it, and they're buying high volume, I don't say it's easy, but it's pretty easy,
Yep.
And that's what I teach people when they get in with, and they don't have a whole lot of money or a whole lot of resources. I can help them right away do deals. One of my first coaching students is he came on board into our program. I told him exactly what to do marketing wise. He did it. He took the call. We did the follow-up. Our office did the follow-up for him. Our office set the appointment. We told him to go on the appointment. He came back and told me on the phone all the details. I told him to offer X. He went and offered it. They accepted it. He got the contract. My buyer came in and bought the property, and he made $13,500.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do. I did everything for him.
So wholesaling, I mean, for what you're telling me, the numbers for your market, it's definitely a no-brainer. And I think in every market, it's a little bit different.
100%.
Our wholesale fees here are definitely bigger. I mean, we're probably more like 20 to 25,000. But having said that, I've made over $300,000 on a wholesale before, believe it or not.
That's awesome.
And that's only because of the fact the numbers were higher. So I bought something for 1.2 and I wholesaled it for 1.5. So really it's a percentage thing. And, whereas like in your market, maybe you're selling something, you get something for 25, you're wholesaling it for 40.
That's exactly what's happening. Yep.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about the strategy. So what's working really well for you and your students right now on the marketing side to get these wholesale deals?
Yeah. So for my coaching students, I teach them direct mail.
Yep.
I think direct mail is kind of tried and true. It's proven.
Yep.
Even though the numbers across the board are a lot, your kind of response rates are getting lower and lower.
Yep.
We're doing a lot of testing with Facebook ads. I don't give that to my students yet. I want to test stuff and perfect it before I let them spend their money on it.
Yep.
So we're doing a lot of testing with Facebook ads and Instagram ads. The problem with Facebook ads, first of all, Facebook is the most powerful marketing platform in the world. If you're not marketing on Facebook in some form or fashion, then you're already missing the boat. It's the most undervalued, underpriced form of marketing, and it's the best.
Yeah.
So you should be doing it. But the problem with doing Facebook ads for We Buy Houses is, who are you targeting?
Yep.
You don't know who you're targeting.
Yeah.
There's no, like, if I want to try to sell my coaching, I want to target people who are interested in, or beginners or interested in real estate. Maybe I can target HGTV watchers. There's a certain demographic that I can easily target. But for We Buy Houses, it could be anybody, anywhere who inherits a property or has a property, or you know what I'm saying? So that's the challenge, and that me and a couple of people nationally are trying to figure out how can we leverage the power of Facebook and the power of Facebook marketing and really get those leads. And we're successful, we're profitable, but the numbers aren't. We want to be 10%. If we put in 10,000, we want to make 100,000 on that 10,000, right? It's more like if we put in 10,000, we're making 30,000. So it's still profitable. It's just not, the numbers aren't where we want them to be.
So there's something new on Facebook, and it's something, I don't know if this specific term is the right term that's new, but you can upload names and addresses of people and hit those people on Facebook.
Yeah, 100%. So, we do that.
Oh, you do that? Okay.
Yeah. You can. Yeah, absolutely. We do that, like for our absentee owners, for our driving for a dollar addresses. Yeah. Yes. We do that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we've been really successful with Facebook, and it's one of the things that we highly recommend. Mailing works, like you mentioned. The cost per lead is just so high now. For us, we've actually got a mailing center in our office. We've got somebody that works full-time in the mailroom. But for the average person, the problem is the amount of volume you have to send out nowadays is so high. And a lot of
Yeah.
people just don't have that budget, where on Facebook, we're getting anywhere from, $60 to $120 leads. I don't know what it costs in it might be a little bit less in your market, but in our
No,
market,
that's about what it is.
that's what
And
you're at.
I think that's too high.
Well, yeah, it could always be
Yeah.
lower, right?
Yeah.
So you guys, so somebody new comes in, they're doing some mailing, you're testing out the Facebook ads. What about anything, like, obviously everybody wants to know, what can I do that doesn't cost me a lot of money? Is there anything in your
Yeah.
market that's working pretty well that doesn't cost that much?
Yeah, and I want to make this one point though about what you're saying. It's that number is high for us. You're talking about $100 a lead on Facebook. That's high for us because our wholesale profits aren't as
Yeah,
big as yours.
you're right. You're right. I wasn't even factoring that in.
Yeah. That's why the percentages aren't really working for us. But those numbers are accurate. What you're saying for even for us in our market. But what can you do that's cheap and free? I prefer, if you're new, don't go out and spend a bunch of money on marketing, because if you do and you don't do a deal, you're probably going to quit real estate. You're probably never going to do real estate again. And so I highly discourage you from throwing thousands of dollars at direct mail, especially if you don't know what you're doing with direct mail, because there is an art to it. Or throwing thousands of dollars at Facebook, whatever it is, don't do that. There's always some tried for us. Now, again, I think this is market to market. For us, bandit signs are very effective. And the thing about bandit signs in our area is, first of all, I'm not telling anyone to do anything illegal, by the way. So if bandit signs are against city ordinances and stuff, that's kind of up to you and your conscience. So I don't want to tell anybody to do things that aren't legal. For our area, there's no one here that's doing bandit signs consistently. No one. And so I've got a couple of coaching students who I just tell them, be consistent with whatever you choose. Don't dabble in anything. Bandit signs are cheap, not free. Little things like billboard cards, which is just I call it billboard cards. It's just it's a business card, and all it says on it is "We buy houses," and then there's a phone number. Nothing else. Mm-hmm. Do not overcomplicate that kind of stuff. And my cards are literally black and white. It's black ink on a white business card. Mm-hmm. And don't go out of your way to put these things out. I put them in credit card holders at gas pumps. I put them, in between boxes of cereal at the grocery store. I put them on the table when I'm at a restaurant I'm eating. I put them at the table. Don't go out of your way. You're probably only going to do 2 or 3, but you're going to do 2 or 3 deals off of it if you put out maybe 10, 15, 20 a week. And that doesn't sound sexy, but you spend about $10 on a box of business cards, and you're not going out of your way to put them up. So that's a little thing that you can do. For us, driving for dollars is huge here. Driving for dollars is absolutely all it takes is time and gas.
Yeah.
So,
and when you say driving for dollars, are you talking about identifying properties and then marketing to them, or literally door knocking on the doors?
Both. Yeah, both. So what I teach that's most effective here in our area is finding you're driving around and you're looking for obviously vacant houses. We always knock on the door to see if there's anyone there, just to verify. And if no one's there, we leave one of our billboard cards in the door. Mm-hmm. And then we jot down that address. We look up in the tax records who is the owner of that property. And if it's an absentee owner, like if the owner does not live in the property, they live somewhere else, and they live locally, we go and knock on that door as well. So I teach that. That is something that's really powerful, guys. So here's, I don't know if this is kind of like a newer kind of investor kind of show, or kind of for experienced guys, but I'll just say this: if you're new and you want to get started in real estate, this is not something that just you're going to snap your finger and you're going to make $1 million. There really is work involved in this. And the people I see who are most successful, my coaching students who are most successful, and me when I started, you got to be hungry at real estate, and you cannot be afraid to talk to people, and you've got to go door to door, knock on doors. That's what I did starting out. I don't do it now because I just throw money at Facebook, I throw money at direct mail, and it's just easier. It's either, in the beginning, it's either time or money. Well, it's either time or money. In the beginning, I didn't have any money, so I had to spend time knocking on doors, skip tracing, doing stuff like that. But now I've got a little bit of money. Now I just throw money at direct mail, and I save my time. So if you're new, that's how I start. That's cheap and free, and there's no doubt about it. If you hustle and you don't give up, you'll make money wholesaling, and that's what I teach.
So I had somebody that was local who wanted to learn how to be a real estate investor. They had no money. I went door knocking with them personally for 2 days. We bought a house.
Awesome. That's awesome.
In 2 days. And
I love it. I love that.
Unfortunately, the person did not continue on door knocking after those 2 days.
It's hard. It's hard.
Well, I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard psychologically.
Yes.
It's not physically. It's hard mentally to keep doing that. It's exhausting mentally.
It's like anything else though, right? Like, you want to be in good shape. Like going to the gym's not fun, but it is what it is. Like, I think if you really want to make money in anything, you've got to be willing to do the things that other people won't do.
100%.
So if it's easy, everybody will do it, and you can't make money doing it. So that's one of the reasons why I'm like a little bit, even though I do a lot of mailers still, it's one of the things I always tell people, like the reason why mailers, the cost per lead keeps going up is because it's the easiest thing for somebody brand new. They go online, they click a button, the mailers go out. So because of that, there's the most competition. So obviously as a real estate investor, we want to get minimal competition. Door knocking, you have zero competition. Banding signings, banding signings, you have maybe a little competition, like you mentioned. People get excited, they go through a 3-day seminar, they put them out, then they stop. But there's always a little competition on banding signings. Door knocking, nothing. Nobody will do that. And the thing about buying houses or anything sales related is face-to-face is the most important thing.
100%.
Especially if you come off, genuine and honest and all that good stuff. So, yeah, I mean, we mail vacant properties all the time, but it's likely that a lot of times we're not even getting to that person. But if you door knock that person, 90% chance you're going to be able to track them down.
You got it, man. You hit the nail on the head. I love it.
So, how can people, so now do you do any, your market would be perfect for this. And I don't know if there's other people in your market that do this, but do you guys do any like turnkey rental business at all?
So no, that's who we wholesale to. So we wholesale to the turnkey rental companies. We don't do turnkey rentals. I used to do what I call turnkey for a fee, which means you buy the house, you pay me to manage the project to fix it up. I put it with a trusted property manager. I make about 5 to 10K managing the project for you, but you can usually get in at 80 to 90 cents on the dollar instead of paying full market value from a turnkey company. So I used to do that when I was kind of starting out. I don't do it anymore, but I can, if anyone listening to this is interested in turnkey properties in Birmingham, I can help you get 80 to 90 cents on the dollar through other avenues, people who I trust. It's not me, but people who I trust very, very much in this business. Because as you know and I know, there are a lot of bad people in the real estate business. There are a lot of cutthroat type of people, and I disassociate myself with people like that. I have a really, really, truly giving heart. I try to give as much as I can with all the content we put out, our podcasts and stuff like that. So if someone does want to reach out to me, I can definitely point them in the right direction to someone who can help them get a turnkey rental at 80 cents on the dollar. Not, you're not going to get 60, 70 cents, but because we're just not in that kind of real estate climate right now. But maybe when we take another correction, I can help you with that.
Yeah. Well, I think the crazy thing is like, I could get 70 cents on the dollar in my market and I still won't cash flow. You can get 92 cents on the dollar in your market and still cash flow. So it's like, I don't think it, getting the difference between getting, at 85 cents on the deal in your market versus 75 cents or whatever, it really doesn't have a big net impact on the overall investment. I mean, you're talking about maybe like 10 grand differential in price.
Especially at that price point. Right. You're right. It is kind of negligible. So,
it's $50 a month on your mortgage.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
So from a cash flow perspective, it's like, it's really to me
Couple
like,
percent.
yeah, it's just a matter of like, does this type of investment make sense for you? And I think for a lot of people, I mean, I've got tons of people that listen to the podcast in areas like California and Phoenix that, it's just like guys like us, we have cash, but we don't have the cash flow properties. I'm actually, honestly, I'm really disappointed in, like, I wanted to have like 1,000 units by this point, but I've had to, put the brakes on because I just don't want to overpay.
Yeah.
And
Don't do it, man. Don't
I'm
do
not,
it.
I'm not going to. I mean,
I think I think we're at a pivotal time right now. A lot of people disagree with me, but I think we're at a pivotal time right now where, man, I told you I'm sitting on cash.
yeah,
I'm sitting on most. I bought 3 houses this year. When I bought, 10 the year before that, I thought I was going to keep buying more and more and more, like you said. And I just made the decision. The start of 2017 is like, I'm not buying anything this year unless I can get it at 2012 prices.
yeah,
Nothing. Not a single thing. I bought 3 houses this year, and the rest of the cash we just pump our money into. There are a couple of stocks that we believe in that are just doing crazy things. I know it's in a stock show. I see the look on your face.
That's okay. That's all right.
But I just believe in being liquid right now because the people who are going to survive the next correction are the people who are liquid and the people who can take advantage. It's like Warren Buffett. If everybody's buying, what should you be doing?
Yep. Absolutely.
I was in a mastermind group last night. We're doing something on Zoom, and we're doing a big kind of thing. It was a really awesome little round table where there's one guy who's talking about, in a market like this where it's so hot, why not sell everything and become a private lender? Because there's so many people that want to borrow money to do flips. Become a private lender, get 12, 15, 18% return on your money that you can turn over twice a year. So you're getting that twice, right? With points and all this other stuff. So take that money, and then when then you're liquid. The next downturn in the market, you're so liquid that you can just go buy. Because Warren Buffett said it best: if everybody's buying right now, why are you buying?
So, but wouldn't you, if you were a hard money lender in that scenario, wouldn't you be lending to people who are kind of overpaying and be at risk at that point?
I'm never lending at more than 65, 70% LTV.
Yeah. So,
and I'm not going to lend everything. I'm going to lend purchase, not repair.
Yeah. So, the bottom line with what you're saying is you're going to have so much equity in that property, it doesn't matter.
Correct.
And that's important because there are lenders out there who are really pushing the limits today, even national lenders.
Because it's harder to find deals to lend on because the deals aren't there. So they're all having to push the envelope. And I don't look, guys. I'm a conservative investor. All right. I want my money is safe. I used to watch Shark Tank all the time, and the guy Kevin O'Leary, the guy that always sits in the middle, they call him Mr. Wonderful. He used to say, when I send $1 out, it's like a little army soldier, and his only job is to go out there and capture another $1 and bring it back to me.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about my money. I'm so safe and protective of it, but I want to make sure I get the right return, but it's in a safe investment. And right now, I'm doing something that a lot of people aren't talking about is I'm sitting on a little bit more cash than I normally would, just so I can take advantage when the market tanks. It's not going to tank, but when there's a correction, I'm going to go in. I'm in a position to scoop up a bunch of properties. And there aren't going to be very many people that are going to be in that position because I want to buy when it's at its lowest and I want to sell when it's at its highest. What is it at right now? It's at its highest.
Yeah.
You said before when we first got started that you don't think it can sustain, that there's the numbers in Boston are crazier than they've ever been.
Yeah.
So that's where I am. And that's my personal opinion. You can take it or leave it. I would just encourage anyone listening to this to don't be leveraged as high as you can possibly leverage, and and stay a little bit liquid in case the worst were to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's so much we covered today. I want to thank you for coming on and, sharing all your wisdom and, just incredible market that you're in right now. Definitely very jealous on some aspects of it. So keep putting in the work and, thank you for coming on today.
Yeah. Can I tell people how to get a hold of me if they want to try to reach out to me?
Yeah, I'm one of the worst hosts, right? I don't hit on anything. I just freestyle and I forget all the important things. So how can people reach out to you? What's the easiest way?
Yeah, thank you. Guys, listen, if you want to just email me, I've got a book coming out in March and I want to give it away to you for free. And if you just email me and say, hey, I heard you on the podcast, I'd like a copy of this free book, I'm going to send it to you for free. Just email me at info at, you can see it behind us. I don't know if it's going to be a video or I know it's probably going to be both.
It's
But
both.
info at alaria.com. And that's the RIA that we lead. It's the Alabama Real Estate Investor Association. So it's info at ALAREIA.com. So I appreciate that. Thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for coming on. And this is Tom Caffarello with the Real Estate Mogul Podcast. I will see each and every one of you in just a couple weeks. So thanks for tuning in.